lovely morning to be back here on screen for Sports Central here, Spectrum Television. My name is Bright James. Energized as always to be back here. Your screen was quite the weekend, that kind of weekend that you can't get over in a hurry. Barrage of action from tennis to, basketball a bit as we get ready for the new campaign, and then we're talking about football. Treated to quite a spectacle across Europe's top 5 leagues returned in storming fashion. Oh boy, the Manchester Derby. You want to talk about the North London Derby or the drama from across France, Italy, Germany, even Spain. But we'll talk about that in very fine details this morning, so stay right here with us and let's take you through all of the stories in very fine details. I begin the show with sports wrap up, but before we do, remember you always establish you can join the conversation every step of the way via WhatsApp at the number will display on your screen right about now. Drop a comment, so we'll be taking them every step of the way. But let's bring you the latest news making rounds in this exciting industry in sports wrap up. Tennis it is. Now let's tell you the story of Maya Sherry becoming the first woman from Egypt to win the WTA Tour title on Saturday when she defeated top seed and world number 7 Maria Sakkari in the Parma final. The 26-year-old triumphed over the Greek rival 7-5, 6-3, achieving her first ever top 10 win in the process. Sherry, who's ranked 74th in the world, carved out her place in history. She finished the final with 10 winners and 11 unforced errors, generating 13 break points, converting 6. Sakkari hit 22 winners and 22 unforced errors herself. But the journey definitely continues for Sherry, who said, and I quote, "It means a lot for the people back home, my family, all the hard work and the mental struggles in the past weeks. I'm just thrilled and happy. This was never expected." Earlier on Saturday, Sherry had required almost 3 hours to defeat 6-seeded Anna Bogdan 6-4, 3-6, 6-4 in the semi-final. Sakkari is through to her first final since the Indian Wells with a 7-5, 6-2 win over Danka Kovinic of Montenegro. Let's talk male tennis now, where Novak Djokovic sent a message to the rest of the ATP Tour this week is near his absolute best. The top seed defeated second-seeded Marin Cilic 6-3, 6-4 on Sunday to clinch the Tel Aviv WTA Open Trophy. With the victory, the Serbian became the first man to win a title on hard clay, Rome and grass courts Wimbledon this season. Djokovic did not lose a single set at the indoor hard court ATP 250 event, where he was never in difficulty against a lineup of dangerous and tricky opponents. The 35-year-old claimed his third tour level crown of 2022 and the 8th and 9th of his career. Cilic entered the final having faced just 4 break points all week, but he was under pressure on the serve throughout the championship clash. Djokovic found great depth to his returns against a big 7 Croatian, which set the tone. Djokovic now leads Cilic 19-2 in their ATP head-to-head series. 13 of his 19 victories against the former world number 3 have come in straight sets. Meanwhile, despite the loss, it's just a good week for Cilic, who celebrated his 34th birthday on the 28th of September. Elsewhere, Marc-Andre Huesler broke new ground at the Sofia Open on Sunday when he overcame next-gen ATP Dan Hargaroon 6-4, 7-6, capturing his maiden tour level title. In the process, competing in his first tour level final, the Swiss lefty outmaneuvered Rune with his touch and variety from all angles, sealed the biggest win of his career after 1 hour 42 minutes. The 26-year-old closed the net effectively throughout and saved 2 set points in the second set tie break, securing victory in the process. Huesler is up to number 64 in the Pepperstone ATP Live Rankings following his standout run. In a dream week at the ATP 250 event in Sofia, Huesler battled past the likes of Geoffrey Blankness, Camille Majak, and next-gen ATP Italian Lorenzo Musetti, while he earned the first top 20 win of the season against Pablo Carreño Busta. Huesler is now the first Swiss player to win an ATP Tour title since Roger Federer won at Basel in 2019. He's also the 8th champion to have saved match points in route to triumphing at that tour level event this season, having saved 2 match points against Majak in the quarterfinals. For 19-year-old Rune, who was aiming for his second tour level title of the season. After traveling in Munich earlier this week, they then qualified for the Intesa San Paolo next generation finals for the second consecutive year. Let's head to Korea and tell you the story of Nishioka producing a stunning counter-punching display against Denis Shapovalov at the Eugene Korea Open Tennis Championships on Sunday, claiming his second ATP Tour title in style at the ATP 250 event in Tour. He's 26 and Japanese down the fourth seed, 6-4, 7-6, with performance full of blistering shot making from deep. Despite Shapovalov finding improved rhythm behind his serve and powerful forehand, the match wore on. Nishioka's movement and stoic defense proved key as he rallied from 1-3 deficit in the second set before staying solid in the tiebreak to secure a 1 hour 55 minutes victory. Nishioka lifted his maiden ATP 250 title in Shenzhen in 2018 and was appearing in his second championship match of 2022 at that level after reaching the Washington final in August, a run that included wins against Alex de Minaur, Karen Khachanov and Andrei Rublev. The triumph so lifts the 26-year-old 15 sports to number 41, the ATP Live Rankings. Now from tennis to Formula One, where Red Bull's Sergio Perez held off Ferrari's Charles Leclerc to win an incident-packed Singapore Grand Prix run in a treacherous wet, dry conditions. Title leader Max Verstappen finished 7th under the lights of Marina Bay after a frustrating race that included a major error from the Red Bull driver. Verstappen, meanwhile, can win the title in Japan next week on Sunday, to be very particular, but would need results of Perez and Leclerc to go his way. Lewis Hamilton also had a difficult day, finishing 9th after 2 errors. Start made a mistake as he sought to get close enough to pass, running wide to turn 7 and damaging his front wheel. Now, the second error running wide at turn 14 allowed Verstappen passing for 7th. Verstappen's error was similar. He was trying to pass McLaren's Lando Norris after a restart from one of 5 safety car periods, 2 real and 3 virtual, but locked up and slid straight on after turn 7. Verstappen would need to gain 8 points on Leclerc, the difference between a win with the fastest lap and second place, and 10 on Perez to clinch the title at Suzuka on Sunday. To athletics now, where Kenya's Amos Kipruto and Ethiopia's Lazemzev Hewalo won their maiden London Marathon over the distance. 23-year-old Hewalo finished in 2 hours, 17 minutes and 26 seconds, the third fastest women's London Marathon time in history. For Kipruto, he then won the men's race in 2 hours, 4 minutes and 39 seconds after pushing away from the rest of the field with about 5 kilometers to go. Ethiopia's Liud Gabriel Lesase was second, crossing the line 33 seconds later, with Bashir Abdi of Belgium completing the podium. 2021 champion Jocelyn Jokoski of Kenya unable to reel her in. Now, that breakaway included astonishing 4.43 mile splits in mile 24. She finished second, 41 seconds back, while Ethiopia's Alemu Megetu placed third. Rose Harvey was the top placed British athlete in 10th position of the men's race, when Gerber Selassie and Afio Seseman were 9th and 10th respectively. Back home here in Nigeria, Alhaji Ibrahim Musa Gusa was on Friday elected the new president of the Nigerian Football Federation, succeeding Mr. Amaju Melvin Pinnick, who was in the role for the past 8 years. Until Friday afternoon, Gusa was chairman of Nigeria Football and also chairman of the Zamfara State Football Association, where he defeated Barrister Sheyi Akinwumi. Until Friday afternoon was the NFF's first vice president by polling 21 votes to Akinwumi's 12 in the first round. Akinwumi, who was chairman of Lagos State Football Association, announced his withdrawal just before the runoff was to take place. Justice Malam Shehu Diko was polled 6 votes. Alhaji Abba Abdullahi Yola had 1 vote. However, former international goalkeeper Pete Saidi Da, with 1 vote in round 1, refused to step down and earned another 1 vote in the runoff as Gusau coasted home. Federation of African Football CAF, the race for the presidency, which had 11 contestants, was whittled down before the ballot as Chief Manze Wuchila withdrew a few days to the poll. Barrister Musa Amado, Honorable Suleiman Yahaya Kwande, and Mr. Adam Mukhtar Mohammed pulled out just before the vote inside the auditorium. Chief Felix Anyasiago, long-term chairman and a 2-time CAF Champions League winner, Enyimba swept to first vice president position by thrashing Senator Obi Nauba, chairman of the Senate Committee on Youth and Sports Development, by 23 votes to 8. Alhaji Yusuf Ahmed Fresh was unopposed for the position of chairman, just as Alhaji Sarif Rabi Inowa had an easy ride picking a slot from the north-west without any opposition. And that's all from the NFF elections. Let's look at more of the races. In the Premier League, Wolves have sacked manager Bruno after 16 months in charge following Saturday's defeat by West Ham United, left him in the bottom three. Lage succeeded Nuno Espirito Santo last summer, led Wolves to a 10th place finish in his first season in charge. However, the poor form meant he had no choice but to take the difficult decision to sack Lage. The decision has come after high-level meetings in the wake of Saturday's 2-0 defeat at the London Stadium, which raised renewed questions over the former Benfica boss. The Black Country side have already scored 3 goals and picked on new players. A lot more was expected, having brought in the likes of Concado Guedes, Matthew Nunes, with the data bought for a club record 38 million. Lage also signed veteran for Diego Costa, who had been a free agent after 9 months and made there. And that's it on Sports Wrap Up this morning. Let's get talking after now.
Nigeria is 62. May this Independence Day bring fortune and success to each and every one of us. May our country see more progress in the coming years. May the labors of our Republic of Nigeria. Happy 62nd Independence from Spectrum TV.
It's characterized by fraud.
It is not pure election because of the way they conduct it.
The elections are here again. For us in Akwa Ibom State, it is another opportunity to elect credible and potential leaders.
But I see some of them are not really
better the lives of citizens and ensure that it is not just another era of political promises.
Some aspirants came up with so childish kind of manifesto, something that you know that they cannot do.
Even if after campaigning and promising heaven and earth, you find out that by the time they come in, they cannot do 50%.
It's a man that does not have a proper ideology to vote them.
So it's just a mere slogan. It's just a mere slogan to use and have their right into power.
What do you, the people, think about the elections?
the electoral process has been marred by malpractice and all of that.
That's a bad.
There will still be rigging.
It's about the aspirants, the manifesto, the people's view, an in-depth analysis.
That godfatherism is what has eaten deep into our.
Fatherism, somebody like me, I will become the counselor. So because I don't have a godfather, it will not work.
Because people feel that they will come and invest, they need to get something back home. So the major aim is not about the people, it's about their family and themselves.
People have stolen a lot of money and they will use this money to buy votes.
Who gets to represent you in government at all levels?
Well, for me, the new breed aspirants, I would love the new breed aspirants. But for those, there are some of them that will not, I would say, definitely, I wouldn't want them to.
On television, as we take on the aspirants set to lead you.
Nigerian police stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Atep.
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I will be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing king.
a knowledge of global businesses, economic activities, a new way at millionaires and billionaires. From the .com era to the oils, from 11:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. weekdays, exclusive on Spectrum Television. Business 3.
Thank you very much for joining the conversation this morning. The gentlemen are back. It's probably a holiday, but nothing changes. Men are back at work. Arizona is here alongside Blyden.
It's a new week for me. Fantastic week. Yeah, after all the activities over the weekend, I'm good to be on the show.
Yeah, basically, information never goes on a holiday.
You notice the new frames?
Oh, man. I got it from Manchester.
Oh! Oh, nice.
But I want to be a baller. At the end of the day, I want to be a baller.
Alan, you then got the match balls.
Yeah, Blyden got the match frames.
That's it.
He was framed up for the win.
Mario, what exactly did you get?
Brother, nothing, unfortunately. I just got
that of Nzanza.
Oh!
I think we should concentrate on the show.
I think we should. Let's do tennis.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about.
That's something we all can do.
Absolutely. Let's do tennis and begin with the story of Maya Sharif, becoming the first woman from Egypt to win a WTA title. She won in Parma, Sakari. What a way to do it, Blyden.
What a way, especially when you are the first from Egypt. Well, not the first from Africa, because we have the likes of Oxdua. But I love the thing that for me, when it has to do with Sheriff, good win, coupled with the fact that she had to play that game in the final back-to-back from the semi-final. When rain did disrupt the Friday encounter. But basically what it is, build up to what you might see in the nearest future from Sheriff, quality player, and opens up confidence for her that she can do it and do it in the open larger stages and probably moving forward in the near future to a Grand Slam. I'm happy with what's happening.
All right, now, Mari, we're talking about world number 1 Iga Swiatek, who would be in action this particular week, and then we're talking number 2 on Chibor. Kokoga, they're close.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, but the likes of Mane Sakari here, and Kontaveit dance in the WTA this particular.
Yeah, but I think I'll begin with Maria Sakari. I think I'm a little disappointed with her. You know, I saw the game yesterday, and Brighton, it's actually very shocking. You know, she's a number 7 seed. Right, and then she's been in 6 ATP finals. She's lost 5. You know, that's great. That's a crazy record for a player. That's 6 that's open, you know, trophy right there. But she's been here and there. And then when she qualified for the next round for the final, defeating Danka Kovinic, I felt that maybe this would be her chance, you know, to redeem herself, especially in finals. But finals coming up later this particular year. I think if you look at the list of players who are gunning for that top 12 spots, top 14 spots, I think you know, Sakari comes in maybe top 10 or thereabout. But I think the players are also itching. You talked about Magdalene, Coco Gauff, and the rest of them who are itching to get to that particular spot and in the space of 4 weeks. And let's look forward to what happens from there. But quite a disappointment, you know, from Sakari perspective. I hope she bounces back from all of this, picks herself up, and gets back to winning ways.
Winning the final against Manu Cilic, the man who celebrated his 34th birthday, you know, a couple of days ago. He did that without dropping a single set, Blyden.
Israelites have been quite supportive of Djokovic. The excitement, having the superstar, but exceptional stuff at the end of it. Good win for him, straight win for him. He's been that dominant, especially in the log-up run regarding the fine fact that he's not been in major competition since Wimbledon. So he had to come here because in the US Open couldn't participate because of visa issues and being on game. Finally, we can say Djokovic is back to winning ways.
Bright, he's back to his absolute best.
Yeah, Bright, absolutely. He's nearing his best, right? If you ask, you know, to mention the top 3 best performers this year, you might not want to put Djokovic in the list, right? But he's the only man this season to win in all courts, grass, hard, and competition he plays. He definitely makes the best out of it. So that shows you that he never left his best. It was just the fact that maybe match frostiness and then the fact that he just couldn't participate in all of the tournaments this year. If he had the chance, I believe he would have done better. But kudos to this particular man, never dropped a single set, right? And then he's won 19 games against Marin Cilic. He's out of form. So I think I'm super excited for him. Looking forward to how he qualifies for the ATP finals later this year, right?
Right now, his third tour level crown of 2022. And of course, let's leave Novak and talk about another player who has grabbed the headlines following his exploits in Sofia. You know, well, many would have gone for the young Dane rather in Hongurun, but it wasn't to be. was about 26-year-old Marc-Andre Hussler showing so. Now that Blyden will be very, very dear to his heart, even in the coming years.
Well, something I like about Hussler is,
nice.
so it makes it quite impressive for me, because regarding the factor that he was ranked 94 prior to this tournament, and he's played quite well. By now, he's final at the top level, and he had to do it against Hojurian. Hojurian, young talent with great potentials. Looking forward to what he can bring into.
Lesson, Ron has to learn, right? Not every time you have to use power, right? I think the game yesterday, like you said, keyword was experience. I think Ron was thinking he was the one doing all of the power game. Hussler was just there calming the tension and then hit him, when he needed to. So I think G2 games, bringing variety to your game, and that was the difference in the game yesterday, and that was how Hussler got to win that particular game yesterday. So big performance.
To number 62 in the live ATP Pepperstone rankings. So we should be very best going forward. Now let's wrap up the tennis stories in Korea, where we saw the Eugene Korea Open Tennis Championship, and it was another Valov. Well, this man rode back the years, did just enough to land this one at the expense of the Canadian, joking Denis Shapovalov. Was that surprising for
number 2 Kasparov?
Yeah.
Beating Kasparov, getting to this point, it showed the class of a player. Notable fact had been his ranking position, 56 thereabout, and he's moving to the final, especially in Seoul. You would have thought Shapovalov would have taken him to the cleaners and get the win, but it wasn't going to happen. The Japanese had to show a different class, and that
particular tournament, tricky opponent, but he did just enough. Sort of likes of Alex de Minaur, Karen Kachanov, even Andrei Rublev. Tells you where he is, the level he's playing at.
Definitely right. And when I saw him in this competition, I knew that this man was going for his second title, because put up fine performance that he could be that man that can be called a giant killer, and he put up a fine performance in this competition and the final yesterday. I think the same story, experience, and he brought in variety to his game. So I'm proud of him. Last time won the title was in 2018 at Shenzhen, so it's been a long time coming. I think he deserves this particular one.
It's a man that has come from tennis wilderness, has had his fair share of fighting bouts with. In football, let's talk about the Singapore Grand Prix. It was a day of disaster. Chaotic Singapore Grand Prix came to an end with Sergio Perez holding off Charles Leclerc for victory. One-time world champion Lewis Hamilton finished 7th and 9th respectively. Had some crashes and a day 2 of the Suzuka Arena, but he needs favors elsewhere. He needs the likes of Sergio Perez and Charles Leclerc too deep below 7th for him to win it. Well, sounds like can only be
up from the FIA concerning the events last season currently, especially when they went past the financial cap, talking about the Red Bulls, but that's a story for another day.
Absolutely.
But that performance on the night, disastrous on one hand. On the other hand, he tried to blame the franchise. At a point he was ready to take over that lap and get to a pole position, discovered his fuel was draining out. So basically, concern from the player, but the good thing is finally the Seal won the race. Sergio Perez won that race, but it's a lot. In the next race that's taking place in Japan, got 8 points ahead of the second place Leclerc and 10 against Perez, and he gets the win for me. For me, it's going to come, whether in Japan or the next, or before we get to Austin, he's going to come. And one way or the other, he might just have the fastest winner in history, talking about Mark Verstappen.
Right is right, and then when I saw the first few laps, I knew that was going to be a problem, because the driver is was good on the night, and I think if he had put up this performance early in the season, maybe we wouldn't be talking about Max Verstappen right now, because of Charles Leclerc from start to the end of the race put up a fine performance. But as you said, Verstappen Lewis Hamilton anymore on Team Mercedes, and that's quite a sad thing, if you ask me, because we're looking forward to the second part of the season. Nothing tangible from Team Mercedes, and I think it's actually very sad for Lewis Hamilton, who a lot of people think
contrasting fortunes. That's been the story of the Formula One this particular year. Red Bull quite dominant, chopping, twisting and turning they've had to do in the course of this particular season. See to find their full change, paradigm shift, call it what you like. We'll hit the breaks here very quickly, and when we return, we talk about football.
Bring fortune and success to each and every one of us. May our country. God bless Nigeria. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Happy 62nd Independence.
All right, so we're back like we never left. The Manchester Derby guys returned yesterday. They won 188. It ended Manchester City 6, 4 goals to nothing. Haaland already scored twice. Phil Foden was also on a hat-trick, scored twice. And that Premier League hat-trick, home hat-trick as well. He's the fastest to reach 3 Premier League hat-tricks. He's done it in less than 40 games. Michael Owen comes next. He's done it in... This...
Well, it had to be me.
This is clearly a hack on the Premier League.
Fine performance from the boys yesterday. They put up, what was expected. But I think from United perspective, I think I'm disappointed. 4-0 at halftime. Come on. Come on.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I can't wait for Blythe to talk.
Yeah, I know he wants to talk, right? And then, they talk about Akonji and the rest of them being solid. They might not be as solid as we think they are, right? So I think United had the approach of the second half, they would have been a lot better. So maybe that's why I would always talk about Ole in games like this, right? And then on the flat foot, the first half, that's wrong against the City team that run you over, right? One question, Bright. You have the world's best
for United.
Okay, I'll go in there. But first of all, let me say it was a game between the Masters and the Sevens. First half we saw it. Manchester City dominated proceedings. They showed Manchester United went no more than noisy name. Quick goals. You saw the Manchester United fans leaving the stadium as early as first half.
Yes.
It showed the difference in class. Second half, Guardiola thought to himself, let me pick up a few of my guys, let them not get the injury.
5 changes.
We have Champions League to play coming up. So why waste the time with this? Please don't bring Ole Gunnar Solskjaer into this conversation for any reason.
Holistically, Ole was bad, but Ole never lost a derby.
It doesn't matter.
Lost a derby.
It doesn't matter.
It's a derby.
I know.
It's the biggest game in Manchester.
It's a local rivalry.
Who do you see? Who do you see? Let's talk about something. I remember watching an interview, pre-game, and then this man was asked, "Do you understand what this derby means?"
And he said he's played there. He's been in derbies.
He likened this to derbies he's been
in Netherlands,
football club, but for the fans.
Right, that's what I'm saying, right? I mean, this man just came in as a coach. He's not been a coach in England before to start with to understand, how fans take derbies. Right? This is not Ajax. This is not Ajax against PSV. This is the Manchester derby. It goes way back, right? So it's not something that you just come and then come with the wrong attitude to the game. And then watch the way United play in the first half, right? They had lost the game in their heads before they started that particular game, and that's the turning point for me. The normality of this game. That's the problem.
Let's move past that. Let's talk about what do you think if Eric had done, in team selection and in strategy, maybe would have, twisted or affected the outcome of that particular game from the blast.
That's where I was going to. Look at it. First of all, it doesn't matter about the derby. If you don't get the basics right, the outcome wouldn't be different. That's basically it. I understand how difficult it is for Eric Ten Hag, because in previous games that's given me a result, which is basically what Eric Ten Hag did. But look at it. The moment Manchester City came with, what's the name? Foden, Silva in the middle, and Gundogan in the middle. No defensive midfield. I would change my structure entirely. Look, this is what it means. You're having players who can hold on to the ball. They have those slick play in front of your defense. So all you can do is to double up. Because first of all, you won't be able to outplay them. They're so good at it. They're an attacking machinery over time, built over time to destroy teams, and you'll be able to do it. And the second factor would be, you have a certain Erling Haaland there. So no matter how your defensive midfielder is trying to contain those folks, there's always be attention going backward. Erling is there, he's most definitely going to score. So your attention can be full on these folks. I would have doubled up as a coach. This is where, there's nothing that would have stopped me if I hadn't Martial on the bench. That would have stopped me playing Martial. You need fast-paced players to play that counter-attack system.
Rashford.
No, with Rashford up front. You need fast-paced players to play that counter system.
Who drop off now because, you're saying
Sancho.
Martial.
What's Sancho doing in the game?
For
Sancho had no business in the game. Put him on the bench. Maybe Anthony, I'll drop him on the bench for me.
Sancho has been too romantic with the ball for me. Right? He's a fine player. I think he's not just gotten out of his shell.
But he loves to keep the ball, loves to play the ball. But he can't do this better than Manchester City. So don't take the ball to you. You're playing away. They'll take the ball to you. All you need is strong defense or strong midfield resoluteness and that quick counter-attack. Needing players who can run. And basically for me, Rashford was in a no man's land. Couldn't see the ball, couldn't play. And masterclass, no matter how you want to talk about it, you have to give great credit to Akanji. That's good player on the night.
Right, a Pep masterclass as well. While we're talking about United and what they shouldn't do, Pep was a masterclass yesterday. Look at the selection. the tactics. He made sure that, you know, look at the wings for instance, you know, acres of space for Haaland to just be slotting in and getting goals in.
But the biggest difference for me was Erling Haaland.
Well,
Yeah,
I
he was.
remember we had a conversation on Friday, like, you know, what's that nickname?
What's that?
Haaland's nickname?
No, Martinez.
Oh, the Butcher.
No, the Butcher. So we had a conversation. The Butcher coming up against the Beast.
Yeah, the main talks that Haaland, his first Haaland a couple of times, and Haaland has not been able to score.
The Butcher wasn't even the one marking Haaland. You know, it was Varane. Varane never did a good job at the end of the day.
Yeah, but we saw.
Come on, it was both of them. The Butcher couldn't butcher anything.
Let's settle it.
The Butcher means the Beast.
The Beast. The Beast won.
All right, so let's talk about the North London derby.
Yeah.
Statement win for Arsenal against Tottenham Sports, 3-1.
Surely, before now, when I looked at an Arsenal side, I would think probably if Gabriel Jesus is out, there'll be a weakness. But I'll begin to look at the team critically, especially when Thomas Partey is back. Come on, it's party after party. Look, exceptional stuff for me, what I saw against Tottenham. A bit disappointed with Antonio Conte. On the other hand, I didn't see any reason starting Richarlison, Son, and Kane. And what's the name of this Croatian now?
Yeah, Ivan Perisic.
Drifting back. Perisic was drifting back. Richarlison was drifting back. And still couldn't get the result. Maybe on the other hand, you always like to talk about the VAR situation, talking about that red card. Most coaches would complain. I really did complain. It looks soft from my standpoint. But in the overall, big credit for what Arteta is doing at Arsenal. They're beginning to add up the numbers, not just the numbers. They're beginning to have personnel. Zinchenko brought in a lot of personnel. And Partey and Xhaka, exceptional stuff in the middle.
Yeah, right, good stuff for Arsenal, right? You know, they put up performance, statement performance, and then they're doing very well for themselves. Right? Talking about you, they can score. Why are you playing defensive? Why are you being on the back foot? For what now? And then you're putting two midfielders who pay more attention to the back than the front. You know, the Bentancur and Højbjerg. It's worked for you 2, 3, 4, 5 games, but against a team like Arsenal, come on, don't do that. Let your attackers do their job as attackers. Run. Be direct, particularly. So that's the problem for me for Tottenham. I think if Conte can utilize it, this was the same problem they were complaining about. I think you've got a Harry Kane that scores goals, so let him score goals.
Right now,
this is it, before you just said.
We'll talk about this, you know, a lot more in the coming days because our time is fast spent.
Okay.
Now let's quickly talk about Chelsea. What did they for the young star Conor Gallagher? Well, was Crystal Palace Player of the Year last season while on loan there. Well, he came off the bench and delivered the goodies. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang had his stats as well and had a goal there. Good day for Graham Potter in office.
It wasn't a good day from my standpoint. Disappointing outlook from the game. Have a way of just getting goals out of nothing. But overall play was disappointing. And he knew the stadium. It was the park he played last season. Became the best player last season. So that kind of inspired him to get a good that wonderful strike for me. It was just a moment of brilliance from there. But overall performance, I must tell you, was terrible. I look at Chelsea side. They really looked like what can I call them? A Brighton hybrid. As far
Trossard.
No, the Serbian in his first game.
Yeah, the Serbia.
Walked into Liverpool, the Anfield.
Got a draw.
Got a point. You know.
Big
Liverpool are disappointed.
Got a hat-trick.
Big statement, Brighton. But Liverpool have been disappointed, you know. And then I don't understand why people are just scapegoating Alexander-Arnold. Yes, he's had a bad game so far. Yes, he's not been good. But have you seen Van Dijk so far this season? Have you seen Henderson? This players have been, but Henderson
has no business starting for them. They have to have the conversation with him. I'm not part of that conversation.
I remember, Blinded, you were here.
Well, I think that's Blinded.
I said about Van Dijk. I said, this Van Dijk has been terrible all season.
Absolutely terrible.
Has been terrible. He's been beaten time and time again. One-on-ones.
Right.
He's committed 3 fouls leading up to penalties direct.
Before now, he was the king of positioning. Well, it looks like, I mean, his last position, right? He's not good enough anymore.
This is not Maguire.
No Maguire, no Fred.
It was your World Cup winning defender.
You know,
Scudetto, no, not Scudetto. The La Liga winning and the Champions League winning.
Centre back there.
But let me add this regarding Liverpool.
Mari, that reminds me of that your friend.
Okay, let me add this for Liverpool. There's something I really noticed. I think Jurgen Klopp is still gambling with the side because I couldn't get it. Why keep Diaz on the bench and
Bruno
on the bench?
Has been sacked. Will he be the next manager casualty?
Who would be?
Klopp.
I don't think so.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, I don't. He's pragmatic basically. You know, come on, be flexible. You have fine players. You don't have to be the gang pressing every time when your backline is crazy. So change up, be a lot more defensive a little bit, and then probably catch your opponent.
There's high level low confidence in Liverpool at the moment.
Yeah, basically.
Players are trying to see how to get win. That's why for me, there's no point gambling. There's no point keeping these players on the bench, your best players on the bench.
Are basically aging, and many say the law of diminishing return is catching up with a lot of those players. Look at that roster. You know, 80% up to 60% of that squad, to be very honest, above 30. They can't run with the system club wants them to go. That gang pressing, they can't keep up the momentum. Well, that would be what Benzema scoffed his penalty, and it was a 1-1 draw. Robert Lewandowski continued this blistering goal scoring form. Was a 1-0 win for them away from home. Talk about Barca. Barca top meanwhile on goal difference compared to Real. And the El Clasico is lurking. Thank you very much, Mari. Thank you, Blyden. Yeah. It was a fine morning doing this. Let's do this again tomorrow, yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Talk about Van Dijk. I think there's a little emotional connection to the.
We know where it's coming from.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I don't know.
You'll be schooled about it.
Alright, please school me.
You can do that line again, no problem.
Yeah.
Barca
topping. Yeah.
Barca topping.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys, joining the conversation this morning. Let's do this again tomorrow. Have fun. Enjoy your holiday.